Assalamualaikum. My name is Nuraliah Binti Muhammad NASRI and my matric number is 823A1767. Executive Summary. First, issue overview. The case involves an early settlement in Murabaha Tawarruk financing. The bank retained profit for unexpired months, which raises concerns of riba and nasiyah because profit is taken for a time that has not yet elapsed. Second, Sharia principle apply. Three main fiqh maxims were used in the analysis. Profit follow deferment, harm must be removed, matter judged by intention. Lastly, key findings. Based on this principle, the bank has no Sharia entitlement to profit for months that have not passed. Therefore, the customer must receive a full ibrah. The bank internal pricing and value restoration agreements were found insufficient compared to the stronger Sharia maxim.
For section 2, our focus is on the case, facts, and the stakeholders involved. This case is about customer who settles a murabaha or tawarruk financing earlier than the original maturity date. When the customer pays early, they request a full ibrah or rebate for the unearned profit. However, the bank only grants a partial rebate based on its internal policy. This creates an issue because the bank is keeping a profit for a period that has not yet passed, which may resemble riba or nasiyah. So the main concern is whether the bank is allowed to retain unearned profit when the deferment period has already ended. Next, the stakeholder. The customer wants a fair treatment and expect a full rebate. The Islamic banks need to balance its operational procedure with Sharia compliance. The Sharia committee plays an important role in reviewing the early settlement process to ensure no riba element exists. Community brokers support the tower interaction, and finally, society and Islamic finance industry depends on this case to maintain trust and fairness in the system.
Hello, I'm NURAZYAN. I would like to present about Sharia issue and risk. There are 6 Sharia issues, which is the issue of price transparency and murabaha, the issue of deferred sales price, third, the issue of rebate, which is IBRA for early settlement, fourth, the issue of handling customer who pay late or fail to pay, 5, the issue of impact of murabaha on the development of the Islamic finance industry, and the last one is the issue of Sharia compliance in practical implementation. Second, I would like to present about the risk. First, the Sharia non-compliance risk. This is occurred when the bank does not give IBRA to the extent that the profit taken can be considered usury and violate Sharia principle. Second, fairness and ethic risk. The risk can be if the customer makes an early settlement without receiving full IBRA. It creates an element of cruelty and injustice in the contract which affect the integrity of the Islamic product. The next risk is income and profit risk. The bank risks losing part of the original profit if it is forced to give IBRA, causing income instability for the bank. The last one is reputational risk. If the bank violates the IBRA's policy or is unfair to the customer trust may be lost and it can affecting the bank image.
In Islamic law, 5 major Qawaid Fiqhiyyah, which is legal maxims, serve as a general method for solving issues and ensuring that the implementation of Sharia is just and balanced between profit and risk. Their application is essential in every muamalat contract as they uphold justice, equality, and protect all parties from oppression. In this case study, 3 of the 5 main maxims are applied to analyze problems in murabaha or tawarruk retail financing. These maxims have assessed the bank's decision, especially regarding the offer of partial IBRA, to determine whether it complies with Sharia principles or not. The analysis below presents a clear Sharia reasoning process based on the selected maxims to determine the most appropriate ruling for this case. The first one is lil ajali qistun min as-saman, that means deferment constitutes part of the price. Based on this maximum application, any grace period is considered part of the purchase price. Therefore, the price for grace period is naturally higher than the cash price. Referring to the issue of customers requesting a full rebate on profits not yet earned by the bank, the request is justified because the grace period has been fully settled before the maturity period. This is because the bank's profit only exists during the grace period that has elapsed. When the customer makes an early settlement, the grace period becomes shorter and the profit for the remaining period that has not elapsed is no longer the bank's right because it is future profits that have not yet accrued. Therefore, the profit is the customer's right and should be returned through rebate in full. The bank is only entitled to the profits that have been generated during the elapsed period. Therefore, granting full rebates is in line with the objectives of Maqasid al-Shari'ah, namely ensuring justice, avoiding injustice, and protecting the interests of the weaker party in muamalat transactions. Secondly, al-umur bimaqasidiha, that means things are determined by intention. Every decision in an Islamic muamalat contract must be based on clear goals and objectives. In this case study, the Murabahah contract aims to maintain justice and provide profits to the bank through the sale of assets in installment of deferred. However, when the customer makes an early settlement in full, the deferred period is considered to have expired. Therefore, the profits for the period that has not yet run no longer meet the purpose of the contract and cannot be the bank's right. Furthermore, customers who try to pay early aim to settle debts and reduce financial burdens in line with the spirit of cooperation and responsibility in Islamic muamalat. So, banking policies must take into account the good intentions of customers and be in line with Maqasid al-Shari'ah. In this context, the provision of full rebate as demanded by customers should be made to maintain the principles of justice and equality outlined by Sharia.
If I were to share about the third of application of maxim, is about Ad-Darul Yuzal. It means harm must be eliminated. It's about the play a vital role in ensuring justice and fairness in Islamic financial contracts such as Murabahah, because it requires that no party should suffer unnecessary harms. Harms of the specific performance to the performing party should not be more severe than what the grieving party has already suffered.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nuraliah Binti Suhaimi and my metric number is 823811719. For this case, the Sharia judgment clearly supports granting a full rebate or ibrat to the customer for the unearned profit during early settlement. This is because, according to the maxim Nurul Ajali Kistomina Ataman, deferment forms part of the price. So when the customer settles the debt before maturity, the deferment period ends and the bank no longer has the right to keep the profit for the remaining months. For example, if 1,800 ringgit represents profit for the 9 months left, then the entire amount is considered unearned and must be fully rebated. This is linked to the illah of prohibition, which is the time-based increment associated with riba and nasiyah. In addition, al-umur bimaqasidiha shows that actions are judged by intentions. Since the customer intends to fulfill the obligation responsibly, the bank should reflect the same fairness by providing a full ibrat that aligns with maqasid al-Shari'ah.
Assalamualaikum, my name is JASMINE Sofiah Binti MUHAMAD, my number matric A23A1717, and I will continue the explanation. The maxim al-darar yuzal, which means harm must be eliminated, further supports giving back the unearned profit. Once the customer settles early, the bank faces no more deferment-related risk. So keeping the remaining profit would cause unfair gain and financial harm to the customer, because Murabahah profit is only justified when deferment actually occurs. Giving a full rebate maintains fairness and protects both parties from unnecessary detriment. A common counter-argument claims that the Murabahah selling price is fixed from the start. However, this argument is weak because the profit tied to future months is directly linked to the deferment period. Keeping it contradicts al-darar yuzal and violates SAC rulings. Therefore, the most Sharia compliant and equitable decision is to grant a full ibrat to the customer.
Buka policy from establish a clear policy review for people for unearned profit during early settlement. Ensure fairness and provide data to customers. 2. Contractual control. Insert a dedicated ibrat clause in all Murabahah Tawaruk contract. Bank may only return profit at year-end. Align with a maxim il-ajali constum minal al-tam. 3. Operational SOP. Standardized procedures for early settlement. Automated rebate calculation, Sharia offer verification, proper documentation and audit trail. 4. Sharia audit and governance. Conduct periodic international audit to ensure policy compliance. Prevent hidden riba and operational non-compliance. 5. Customer transparency. Clearly communicate customer right to ibrat, the conclusion method and settlement process. Enhance trust to support Maqasid al-Shari'ah.
Assalamualaikum, my name is HIDAYAH binti Muhammad Rizal and my number matric is 8238182. In conclusion, applying Qawaid Fiqhiyyah in real banking operation is not as simple as it seems in theory. Although the mazim li'ajali Keystone Minat Ataman promote fair pricing, in practice it often leads to inconsistent rebate calculation due to different SOP across institutes. This mazim remarks us to balance fairness, harm prevention, and Sharia objective in every decision. Therefore, bank must center governance ensure with trained staff and adopt automated system. Moving forward, standard producing and strong Sharia audit are essential to achieve consistent and Sharia compliant outcome.